That group of people turned $50,000 into over $7 million. And I'll show you exactly how it happened and how it progressed and how it happened actually after the dot-com bubble. And I think that is a parallel as to where we are right now. These people led us into the digital revolution. The world didn't believe it was going to happen. And so in 2000, the dot-com bubble burst and they went down in value. They then went up and turned $50,000 into $7 million. That same opportunity is in front of us again. And that's what I want to share with you, because I think I have identified the people. These are the people who brought us into the digital revolution. Digital Revolution 3.0 is going to grow by a group, and that's who we need to identify. That's where we need to invest, and I'm going to show you how we do it.
Best of Us Investors presents Carrie Griegmeyer.
I just see so many parallels to the dot-com bubble, an over-exuberance about a new technology that is coming available to us and that we think is going to change the world. And we over-invest in it, and the market comes back and says, for different reasons in this time, you've overvalued these stocks, and they bring the prices down. Again, remember, Amazon lost 80% of its value in 1 year and then 40% the following year. You have stocks in your portfolio, more than likely, that were, if you're like me, in the biotech and in the fintech and in the 3D printing, that got ahead of themselves. And then the market, again, because of different reasons, inflation and Fed rates and things of that, and $9 trillion coming into the market, crashed down, again, just like the dot-com bubble, and then lost their value. But then once the market rebounded and saw that that technology still is going to change the world, EVs are still going to change the world. Biotech is still going to change the world. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, it's still going to change the world. This is just a reset. So you get a second chance. And what I want to show you on my chart that I did on Excel, you've seen this chart, but I've changed it and said we didn't invest at the IPO. We invested instead at the correction, at the dot-com bubble in 2021. And what I'm going to show you is $50,000 turned into $7 million. And what I'm going to share with you is how we can identify the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates and the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Jeff Bezos, how we can identify them for the next big opportunity. And that's what, first, let me sell you on the science by showing you this chart. Okay, I've shown you this chart before, but I've made some variations on it. What I wanted to do was draw a parallel to the Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook phenomenon of the digital revolution 1.0 and say, okay, we've got a digital revolution 3.0, I believe, in a number of things. Artificial intelligence that is directed towards genome sequencing, genome editing, a revolution in our healthcare system, and then in software. So let's just assume that we didn't buy in at IPO on these stocks, but instead we bought in after the dot-com bubble, the year after, in 2021, and I parallel that to where we are now, that we have had some tremendous innovation, and stocks came out at good prices, went up, and then have crashed. And now they're at bargain basement prices, much as Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon were in 2021. So what I did was, rather than put $10,000 up here when they IPO'd, I put the $10,000 down here after the dot-com bubble burst, and they were at a low in 2021. So as you can see here, if I'd done that in Apple, that would have grown to $5.2 million. If I did it in Microsoft, not nearly as good, $211,000. If I did it in Amazon, it would be 1.4 million. Google, 117,000. And then Microsoft, 61,000. So they're not phenomenal numbers, but nonetheless, if you follow my logic, that if we can find these kind of companies that are going to lead us into the digital revolution 3, what can they produce for us? Again, buying them after the bubble burst, and that is, they grow that 50,000, 10,000 into each one of them, grew to $7 million. Is that acceptable? It certainly would be for me. Again, some of them may not give us the $1 million return, only 117,000 or 61,000, but still on $10,000, that isn't bad. We don't have to be hit the moon on every one of them. If some of them outperform the market exponentially, they will give us this kind of return. Now what we need to do is identify the companies, but first identify the people. Who are the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs and the Jeff Bezos and the Mark Zuckerbergs of the past, and will be their duplicates in the future? That's what I want to do. I know we're going into this change. I know artificial intelligence, machine learning, and quantum computing are going to take us there. I know our healthcare system is broken. I know our supply chain is broken. I just got to identify the people, and then I'll know the companies. So let's look for the people. I think it was my grandmother who told me, Kerry, the only thing that we learn from history is that we don't learn from history. And we can learn from history. We can look at 2000 and say, it's about to happen again. We got our correction. We got the technology in front of us. We got the people in front of us who are already identified themselves. Just think, if in 2000 you had Googled, Google wasn't quite ready yet, but if you had Google and said, who's the leaders of the digital revolution, I am sure you would have identified Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak and Bill Gates and Steve Allen, and maybe even at that time you might have identified Jeff Bezos. Well, we're right there again. So what we have to do is identify the people. Now, I think I've identified the people. Here they are. I hope you recognize most of them. If you don't, tomorrow's video, I'm going to go into who each of these people are and why I think they are the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates and the Jeff Bezos of 2021. And so here we are in 2001. Here we are in 2022. Roughly 11 years later, and history's repeating itself. And these people are the leaders in that field, and their stocks are depressed. And what I want to do is I want to enlist your help. I want to enlist your help to say, who else? Who are the other people? And give me some input as to, again, I am just so excited that this is a repeat of history, and we as a group are identifying it. So how do we do that? You got two choices. Either you can put it in the description, and it'll get all screwed up with all the bots who come in there and screw with our comments, or you can come to Best of Us Investors and enter our Discord and share your opinions, and I'll share my opinions even deeper, and then I want you to come to my Friday stock talk, and we'll talk about it personally. That is, you'll raise your hand, and we'll identify you, and we'll have a conversation about it. Because again, this should be a team sport, and if we will play as a team, we can beat we can beat the champions, Wall Street, that have the quantum computers already and are seeing momentum. We're a small group who has recognized that history does teach us, and history is about to repeat itself. So that's my excitement for the day, and that's what I think I can do for you. But come back tomorrow, and I'm going to dig deep into each of these faces so that you know who they are, and then you can give me your feedback. Particularly if you're involved in these industries, come join us and let's form a community that takes advantage of this overwhelming opportunity that's going to present itself in the next year, 2 years, 5 years. We got the time because we know what's going to happen, because we saw it happen before, and we've recognized the parallels. All right, let's do this together.